You're listening to Witch Wednesdays, a semi-weekly podcast source for all things witchcraft in the modern world. Join your host, Steph, on Wednesday mornings to chat about seasons, Sabbats, and all new witchcraft topics to help you make your life more magical.
Welcome back to Witch Wednesdays. I'm Steph, and you are listening to the final monthly magic episode for 2024. We are at December. The month of happiness is here. It is probably my favorite month. October is great too, but between October and December, I just have a great time. So I am excited to bring in all of the energies of December and celebrate all of the holidays, festivities that go on at this time. So December, as far as the name, I am not going to run through that again because we just did it for September, October, and November. But December comes from the Latin word decem, which means 10. And you know by now why it is the 10th month, even though we have 12. So December's energetic highlight is, of course, the winter solstice, and that will take place on the 21st. And then from that point, the days are going to lengthen again, and the nights will become shorter, at least in the northern hemisphere. So the universal month number for December is both 11 and 2. 11 is a master number, so that's why it still counts, and you don't add 1 plus 1 to equal 2. I mean, you do. It is still a month of 2, but 11 still counts when you are doing these numbers. So 11 is a number of tenacity, so should anything unexpected arise. And then 2, of course, is the number of dualities. So new projects are not typically recommended at this time, and I don't think a lot of people take on new things like right at the end, mid to end of December. But it is a time when new partnerships might be helpful to get things done in our favor. The tarot card for December is Judgment, which is a reminder that treating others fairly and behaving with integrity is also important when it comes to your own personal fulfillment. Some of the correspondences associated with December. For the crystals, we have turquoise, onyx, bloodstone, and blue topaz. The animals are the elk, horse, stag, and reindeer. The flower is the Narcissis, and some of the deities associated with December are Jupiter, Artemis, Rhiannon, and Thor. As far as what's going on astrologically, December starts with the sun in Sagittarius, which is an immutable fire sign. That brings lots of energy and variety into things, and that is going to stay there until the winter solstice, when the sun is going to move into Capricorn. So December 1st, we have a new moon. So that's in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is great for spells for travel and justice. And that will add a bit of the reserved nuance to this like fiery sunshine. And then they had the second quarter moon in Pisces on the 8th, which is a good time for dreaming up new ideas. But don't forget to have deep foundations under them for them to become a reality. With the full moon in Gemini this month on the 15th, Gemini is great for spells for communication and travel. And it reinforces cooperation, but remember to act on plans rather than just talk about them. That is sometimes one of the negative Gemini traits. If that is your sun sign, you might be guilty of this, of making tons of plans and having great ideas, and it is the follow through that doesn't always happen. We have the fourth quarter moon in Libra, which is also good for partnerships, but also a time to guard against overindulgence. And then the month and this year is going to end on another new moon, since we had the first so early on December 1st. It leaves time for another one on December 30th, and that is in Capricorn. So that is setting the stage, that energy for all of New Year's resolutions all over again and getting ready for 2025 because that Capricorn is another hardworking energy. Let's jump into the holidays and start with these ancient holidays that have greatly influenced our modern holidays, especially the Roman ones that I'm going to talk about. They have a whole bunch that when you add them together, there's so many different pieces that clearly influence what we celebrate in Christmas celebrations today. So I find that absolutely fascinating. First up is Saturnalia, which I won't cover too much because I did talk about that in the November episode, that preparations would have started in November because it was such a big festival, major Roman festival dedicated to Saturn, the god of agriculture and time. So lots of feasting, lots of gift giving. There were just general revelry at this time. So those customs obviously influenced some aspects of Christmas celebrations, particularly the gift giving and the decorating. We also had Brumalia in ancient Rome from December 24th to the 25th, which was celebrating the solstice and overlapped with Saturnalia. Specifically, this honored Bacchus, the god of wine and revelry, and involved feasting and drinking, and also celebrated the lengthening of the days and the return of the sun. They also celebrated Sol Invictus on December 25th, which meant unconquered sun, a festival dedicated to the sun god Sol. And this marked the rebirth of the sun as the days began to lengthen. Another significant holiday in the Roman Empire that is thought to have influenced the choice of December 25th for the date of Christmas. In ancient Middle Eastern tradition, we had Kalikai from December 15th to January 15th, which was an ancient festival celebrated across the Middle East, including parts of Mesopotamia and Anatolia. And this was the festival associated with the rebirth of the sun and the end of the darkest part of the year. Involved, of course, celebrations, feastings, offering to gods and deities that were associated with the sun and fertility. I think you're starting to see the theme. Along with that same theme, we have the Feast of the Nativity of Mithras on December 25th. Mithras was a deity from the Persian tradition and was eventually adopted into the Roman religion because you remember Rome was out there conquering everybody. So when their army went into Persia, they decided they liked Mithras and adopted him. And his birthday was celebrated on December 25th, again, influencing the date that Christians picked for the birth of Jesus. The festival of Mithras celebrated this birth of the god of light and truth and was part of a broader Mithraic tradition that was very influential in the Roman Empire and, of course, shared the same themes as all of these other December festivals. This was really just a party time. And then in the Norse tradition, we had the Wild Hunt, and that was associated with the Yule season and was believed to be a ghostly procession led by a god or spirit and was seen as an omen of the coming year and a time when the dead or otherworldly beings might traverse the earth. There were offerings and rituals that were performed to protect against malevolent spirits and ensure safety during this time. Now, moving that into the more modern holidays. We are still celebrating Yule. Like I said, that is the winter solstice, and we get Yule directly from these Norse traditions. It marks the shortest day and longest night of the year. It is a celebration of the rebirth of the sun and gradual return of longer daylight hours. And the celebrations that we have include lighting candles, fires, feasting, lots of forms of merrymaking associated with Yule. And that makes it sort of a big part of many modern, like pagan and Wiccan traditions. It is one of the ones on the Wheel of the Year. So it's part of that cycle of themes, renewal, and like cycles of nature. So if you want to know more about Yule, have some more questions of how to celebrate, that is something that I offer over on Patreon, the ebook for. So do head over there. Lots of recipes, spells, rituals, tarot, journaling prompts, tons of Yule content because it is my particular favorite Sabbath and holiday. So I have tons to share on that. And I am also doing Vlogmas over on YouTube. So there's a video every day, and lots of them are Yule and just general December festivities related. So lots of content over there too. We also have the Dongzi Festival on December 21st and 22nd, which is the winter solstice festival as celebrated in China and a couple other East Asian countries. And again, that is marking the arrival of winter and specifically involves family reunions and preparing special foods like sweet rice balls, dumplings, and it emphasizes the importance of family and the balance of yin and yang. And then, of course, we have Christmas on December 25th. That is one of the most widely celebrated holidays worldwide, commemorating the birth of Jesus Christ. It is observed by Christians, but also celebrated by many non-Christians. And I say Yule. Yule is my holiday. That's what I celebrate. It's my favorite one. But it's just about the whole season. And so many people in my life celebrate Christmas. My husband is Christian. His whole family celebrates Christmas. That's their big holiday. My mom celebrates Christmas. My friends. So there are a lot of people who just celebrate that way at the time, and the majority of them have very secular celebrations. There's not too many. I mean, my husband goes and his family go to Mass on Christmas Eve, but there's not too many like out of my friends that include religion in their Christmas celebrations. So sometimes I use the terms interchangeably when I'm talking about like what I'm celebrating, what we're doing, like for Christmas, we're putting up the Christmas tree. It's a Yule tree and a Christmas tree. They all go together because all of the Christmas traditions came from Yule and pagans. And like I said, all those same traditions, decorating Christmas trees, exchanging gifts, I mean, going to church, of course, enjoying festive meals. There are cultures that have different customs, such as caroling, using advent calendars, decorating with festive lights, lots of ways to celebrate that and still be able to honor your pagan roots. I think this and Samhain are the easiest ones to celebrate if you are still in the broom closet and don't want people to know that you are celebrating Samhain or Yule. It is very easy to mask those as Halloween and Christmas if you're just not comfortable with sharing your pagan beliefs. We also have Hanukkah. Hanukkah is late this year. It is from December 25th to January 2nd. It's also known as the Festival of Lights, and it's the 8-day Jewish holiday that typically falls in December. Obviously, dates vary, but this year it is starting on the 25th. Celebrations include lighting the menorah, which is that candelabra with 8 different branches plus a central candle, playing dreidel games, eating foods fried in oil, such as latkes, potato pancakes, and jelly donuts. And I really liked Hanukkah as a kid. The suburb of Chicago that I grew up in was actually heavily Jewish, so good chunk of my friends growing up were Jewish, and a lot of them thought I was too because I have a very Jewish last name. So I had lots of Jewish friends to celebrate Hanukkah with, and their families would of course like include me in their celebrations and stuff. And I always thought Hanukkah was such a great holiday. I was like, we only get one day of Christmas. This is lame. So I really enjoyed the fun side of Hanukkah without, any of the religious traditions associated with that. But let me know what you celebrated as a kid or what your friends introduced you to. We also have Kwanzaa. That is from December 26th to January 1st, a week-long celebration of African American culture and heritage, and that was founded in 1966 by Dr. Maulana Karenga. Kwanzaa focuses on 7 main principles, such as unity, self-determination, and collective work. And celebrations include lighting the kinara, a candle holder, reflecting on the principles, and participating in cultural activities and feasts. We have Omisoka on December 31st, which is the Japanese New Year's Eve celebration that marks the end of the old year, beginning of the new one. This is the time when families clean their homes to welcome the new year. They enjoy a special meal of toshikoshi soba, buckwheat noodles, and they visit temples and shrines. And the ringing of the temple bells 108 times is also a common tradition, symbolizing the release of 108 worldly desires. And that brings us to the end, what we know as New Year's Eve. Whether you consider this like a traditional holiday celebration, some people don't do anything and they just see it as the calendar flipping over, just another day. And I'm somewhere in the middle of that. I don't stay up until midnight anymore. Those days are gone. It's not fun for me to be awake at midnight. I don't think it ever used to be. That was like kind of the thing that everybody did. But I don't know that I ever actually enjoyed staying up until midnight. It's just not a fun time. So now I just don't do it. I don't feel the need to actually celebrate at midnight. I'm fine with doing it earlier and then going to sleep. That does not bother me. But I do still like New Year's Eve, and I like the energy associated with it of like fresh starts and new beginnings, and then everything turning over on January 1st. I know a lot of people save the like turning over and starting new things for January 2nd, which is also fair, whatever way you do it. But I do think that the date itself is associated with heightened energy because you have so many people coming together, like the entire world over, recognizing that this calendar is changing into a brand new year. So there is a lot of power associated with that and energy that you can tap into to use when you're setting your own goals, working on what you want to manifest in 2025. Even if you're not setting traditional resolutions, it's still a great day to reflect and figure out where you would like things to go in the new year. You don't have to make it a dedicated resolution or goal. It could just be a general feeling of what you would like to happen in 2025. And that, of course, gets me into a little bit more about the energy. And December is, again, a month that's uniquely blended with the energies because it reflects both the end of the cycle and the anticipation of new beginnings. So it's a month of introspection, but also celebration and renewal. So we're reflecting on the past year and preparing for the future at the same time. So that theme of reflection and contemplation it comes up towards the end of the month. This celebrating is more for the holidays, and then at the end, that week after Yule, it's really a time to reflect on what happened in the last 12 months and assess your accomplishments, consider any lessons that you might have learned, and use that time to bring closure to anything that's unfinished so you don't have to bring that into a new year. And of course, we then have the sun moving into Capricorn. And like I said, we have that new moon at the very end of the month in Capricorn. So that's a sign associated with discipline and responsibility and long-term planning. So Capricorn energy really supports setting goals, creating structure, and preparing for the future with a grounded and practical mindset. So it just makes it such a great time for that. But again, you are still having that energy of celebration and joy, obviously from Yule, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, New Year's Eve celebrations, all of those things I mentioned. There is such a sense of joy, connection, and community. So the energy of December is a lot of like gathering with loved ones, sharing traditions, and it's like embracing a spirit of giving and gratitude. And like you saw in the descriptions, a lot of these celebrations in December center around light. So you got the lights in the Christmas tree, the candles of Hanukkah, you got the Yule log, but it's this symbolism that reflects our desire at this time to bring warmth and hope and joy in these darkest days of the year and celebrate that sun is returning. In terms of that working for your practice and incorporating that energy, great time for that introspection and spiritual connection because you can use the solstice to honor that darkness and also celebrate the return of the light and understand the importance of both. That's like a deeply spiritual part of the holiday. So you can have quiet reflection and connect with your inner self as part of your solstice celebration. I particularly like using that time as that sort of turning point to symbolize rebirth and renewal. So it's letting go of the old and welcoming new beginnings. That is my ideal time for setting goals for the new year because I really can let go and close the door on 2024 and figure out what I want for 2025. So that's kind of my planning week in there. There's also energy and spirit of gratitude and generosity. The whole holiday season emphasizes the importance of giving and receiving both materially and emotionally. So December's energy encourages a lot of generosity and compassion and expressing gratitude for the people and the blessings in your life. And there is also a time for strengthening bonds with family, friends, community. There's a lot of gathering and shared experiences to foster a sense of belonging and remind us of the importance of connection because that is something that we have lost. So overall, lots of multifaceted energy in December, blending reflection and preparation, but also celebration and joy and community. So we're honoring the past, embracing the present, looking forward to the future, and finding balance between the light and dark aspects of life. So there is a whole lot going on in this month. And maybe that is why I like it, because every day can bring something new and I can focus on something different and let go of so many things and start 2025 on a fresh note. So that is just some of my favorite magic. And of course, I just love all of the celebrations that are associated with December. So do let me know what you have planned for this month. I would love to hear it, especially if you have specific traditions that you do with your family or anything that you want to start as a new tradition this year. I love hearing about those things, and I love just seeing how somebody will take something like a Yule log or Christmas ornament and really make that their own and make it into a tradition for their family. It's always so fun for me. So let me know those things in the comments, and I hope that you are off to a great start to your holiday season and are really going to enjoy the month of December. But that is all I have for you for this episode. I have more coming before the actual end of the year, but this is the last monthly magic episode, so I hope you enjoyed the series this year. And that's everything. I will see you all next week.
Need even more witchcraft in your life? Subscribe to Witch Wednesdays on Patreon and YouTube for all types of exclusive bonus content like spells, recipes, book reviews, and more, or even order personalized tarot readings and spells. Be sure to follow on Instagram at Witch Wednesdays Podcast, and you can find all these links and more at witchwednesdays.com.